So this is day 4 of the Romford Film Festival. So, introductions.
Levi Haughton, I was one of the actors on First.
I'm Rebecca Gower, I'm the director and co-writer of First.
I'm Joan Ashworth, the director of Silvia Pankhurst, artist, writer, fighter. Is this working okay? This microphone?
Yeah. So, my first question is, what was the inspiration behind each of your films?
For me, I came across Silvia and I found out she was a student at the Royal College of Art and had been in the early 1900s. And I was working there, but I'd never heard that. So that piqued my interest to find out why did I not know she was an artist. And then that sort of tumbled into making a film about her.
So my friend and I, Jacqueline Rose, who's also the co-writer, but she's also one of the stars, she and I were talking about, I guess, the disillusionment of online dating and how getting to even just meet somebody is kind of like a massive achievement. So H First is kind of almost a celebration, really, from just talking to somebody in person is kind of a big deal, and then even getting to the point where you're kissing somebody. We just wanted to do like a celebration of the kind of micro steps that you get to meet somebody.
Okay, and like, what would you say is the thing you've learned the most from the making of your films?
It gets really cold in December. Yeah, some of the scenes we shot were super cold. One of the coldest days I think we shot on. But no, for me, my takeaway from First is that everyone, regardless of creed, gender, sexual orientation, age, race, everyone always wants to make that connection, and just exploring that with fantastic set of people, amazing crew. It was really nice to kind of go into the nuances of that and the constraints, obviously, with stuff that's circumstantial as well. So a lot of things are circumstantial. They weigh in on people's self-esteem, their self-perceived sense of value. And my biggest takeaway is that, one way or another, people find a way to connect. So that was my takeaway.
For me, because it's my first documentary or creative non-fiction, I've usually made fiction before, I found that I should have kept better records of what I was finding out as I went along. And so I needed a much better sort of archive of record of what I was finding so that I could find it again should I want to go back to it or need to get a detailed quote. So it was managing my information that I was collecting, because it was so overwhelming. There was so much of Silvia's long life that I got sort of lost in the material, and that was interesting, and I think that is normal for a documentary, but it was frustrating as well. So if anybody's attempting such a thing, just try and have a really good system that they can access things that they've read or seen quickly.
So yeah, with what you've learned from the creating of your films, is there any other advice you'd give to other filmmakers?
I would say that having a deadline for filming is really good, because Jacqueline, who I mentioned before, she moved back to Australia, and so we had to do it before she left, obviously. And then I guess everything kind of came together. We were very lucky in that we had a really kind crew and cast that were willing to kind of shoot so close to Christmas. And we've got some of the crew here today. I would say we were just really, really privileged that people said yes to do it, really. That was a surprise that a lot of people did. And so I guess asking, and many times people say yes to working on projects, which was a real privilege.
Any other advice from you?
Just don't give up. I guess, tenacity is really important, and again, I'm finding people that are willing to come and being brave enough to ask. I think that's the thing, because sometimes you can waste a lot of time with a bit of fear, but be brave and bold. Yeah.
You mentioned deadlines, so how long was production then?
Oh, so we'd be coming up with this idea for maybe a year and a half. We just wanted to make something, and we just kind of pulled together a bit of money, but we were still kind of toying with like, you know, what were the logistics and things like that, and then we'd also had your schedule to work out around as well. But we just said right, we're just going to do it. We're just going to book these dates in a couple of months before. Decided to do it very close to Christmas because a lot of our crew work in advertising, like myself, and we just thought we'd just do it before Christmas because people won't be working, and that was it really. So yeah, a deadline for filming was the main thing, and then post can kind of come later. But it was just kind of getting those dates in the diary seemed to be something that we were just muddling over for ages. So it was 4 days filming in total.
Okay. What does it actually feel like watching your films back?
It's kind of like a diary of time that you've spent, because you did 4 days. My schedule, I started in 2011. So it was about 12, 13 years. Because I was, it started off as a research project, as an academic research project. And so it started off as one thing, and then I left my teaching post, and so it could become something else. And so, I'm sorry, I've lost the question. Could you remind me of your question again?
It was like, what does it feel like to watch your work back?
It is. You see, obviously, you see all the bits that you got a bit wrong, but as you watch it more and more and have a bit of time from it, you begin to be able to appreciate it as an audience yourself, and feel you can enjoy it much more. But there's still bits that niggle, and you think, oh, damn it, I should have just found a better solution for that. But you will never finish if you try and perfect it, so you just got to let those sticky bits sit.
From an acting perspective, I think apart from the self-critical side of it, where you start reviewing your choices, no, it's really interesting to see the art of it come together, because with a lot of it we didn't shoot in sequence, and knowing all the BTS and seeing all of the stuff that you had to do as a director and production, the lighting, the boom, we had issues with audio and stuff like that was going on, so to see it all come together, and then all the like post-edit stuff on the back end, is amazing. It's I can imagine for yourself with it starting out as like a documentary type research thing, because I actually don't live too far away from the Birmingham, sorry, going off script a little bit, but I don't live too far away from the Black History Museum.
Oh yeah.
So with the journey of what she'd actually accomplished and then going over to Ethiopia, it was amazing. It was, and I can see why it took so much time.
Yeah, it's a lot to understand.
A lot, and how she pieced it together herself. So, it's just a testament to all of the work that goes into it. But yeah, just to get back on track, I think for me personally, aside from my personal performance, I've really enjoyed watching how it all gets put together, the choices that were made on the back end with the post-edit stuff, and how everyone kind of amalgamated together to make it happen. It's really nice to see.
Well, just a bit of a shout out to George, who's sat over there. I'm just going to embarrass him because he did the graphics, which I feel like is kind of an element that's quite big for this film, with the overlays and then the kind of the title cards and everything. It's so lovely to see that, and even when we'd finished the edit, we were like, oh, how do we make the credits really cool? And then he did this kind of cool kind of Paisley effect, and it was just so lovely to just work with some amazing post-production people. The composer again, Simon Porter's really incredible, James Burt, the editor, just like really people that just have like a really real heart to them. I think that was something that we wanted this to have a kind of light-hearted feel, but with a bit of heart in it. It was just so lovely that people who worked on it had that same feel in themselves, that they could integrate that in the work. So yeah, I was super, super proud and happy with everybody that worked on it.
And if you could do it again, would you change the way you did anything?
think I try and have a clearer question in my mind about what I wanted to find out. But I think I was just open and quite naive to the process and just found things out, and then had to do, because there's politics and history and all these different things that I didn't know very much about. I had to read around the subjects, and so I think if I'd had a clearer idea of where I was going, I could have read more precisely. It's a bit like if you were doing a PhD, you've got to have a research question. I think I used to supervise PhDs, and you're trying to guide somebody in that, but I couldn't do it myself. So I think, try and be more precise, unless you've got lots of time and really like wandering about and paddling in the information, which is pleasurable in itself. And maybe it's, Rebecca Solnit says it's good to be lost, and then you don't know, you find things that you weren't looking for. So accept that, maybe.
So our project was actually originally a mini-series, so it's actually 5 episodes of like 4 minutes each. So in each first is a different episode. So when we were looking at festivals, we thought we'd cut it together to make it a short film, so people could see it. So there are some scenes that didn't make the cut, one of which is in a cafe just before you get your call in the exterior shot, the last part. And that point, he does like a double take, and he thinks he sees somebody come in the cafe, and thinks it's her and it's somebody else. But we cut that because we thought, well, festivals, they want it to be, around 15 minutes. So now I think it does kind of lose a little bit of the last act section. Kind of, I feel now I probably would have kept that in and not worried so much about festival duration. I mean, I guess I could ask you about it later and see what you think. But I was just really, really conscious of that. So I think there's about 5 minutes that we didn't include in the end, because I also just conscious of people's attention span and didn't want to over-egg it. But yeah, so maybe we could have left that in. I don't know. I can't see it anymore. I've seen it so many times. I'm like, it's a film. It's there. People can enjoy it. I don't know. You know what I mean? You see it so many times, and you're like, I think it's good. I don't know.
It is good. I enjoyed it.
Thank you. Do we have any audience questions?
And this is a question to Joan. If you could ask Sylvia one question, what would it be and why?
Why? I think I'd ask her why she didn't return to painting. I know that she took her paints to Ethiopia, even in her 70s she took them, but even there she didn't quite get round to painting. There's some sketches, and so I'm quite mad at her for not coming back to it, because I thought she was, when I heard she was a painter, and I wanted to see if she was any good as a painter, and I really liked her paintings. And I slightly mourn for the loss of her as an artist, but realised she had, bigger fish to fry. But I think that's what I'd ask her about. And also maybe, why was she not influenced by some of the other painters, like the French painters and Cubism, some of the movements that were going on? Why did she stay more in her early work? Why did she stick to quite straightforward representation?
Well, first of all, congratulations, those films were brilliant. Question to all of you, what's next? What can we hope to see in the future, and hopefully back here?
Thank you so much, that's really kind. So Jacqueline and I wrote a short film, and that's now been 3 years that we've been writing that. But we actually we made First because we were struggling with money, raising money. So First is very much guerrilla style. I don't think we have a single permit for any of those locations. And so that one is the next one, which we're going to have kind of do it with a bigger crew and more kind of, doing it the proper way rather than kind of scrappy team coming together before Christmas. So that's that Kickstarter will be out in a few weeks, and that will co-star Adele James, who was the star of the Cleopatra Netflix documentary. So that's our next project. Anyway, yeah.
And what was the title of that? Sorry.
Oh yeah, sorry, that one's called Riding Horses Up Everest.
Riding
Yeah.
Horses Up Everest. Okay. For me, I'm working on a project around the colour indigo, because I'm really interested in this. The actual colour itself, but its history and connection to enslaved people and creativity and nature. And also I think the word is kind of savoury. And I couldn't quite know why I was thinking of it as a savoury word or a savoury colour even. And then I read a paper that's in the colour library at the RCA, and it was about people who work with indigo in China who still use natural indigo. They actually taste it to see if it's what the quality of the indigo powder is. So I thought, oh, there is a connection with taste. so I don't know if it's going to be a film, but it might be a series of paintings in indigo rather than a film, because it takes me so long to make films.
For myself, just at the grindstone really, I've been considered for some quite big projects recently. Some of them I get pipped at the post, so I'm hoping that there's a turn of phrase on that, and I kind of make it through to the next stage. I've been on an interesting couple of projects lately as well. I got back from filming in Ireland recently as well, which was really cool. That was with Dennis Leary and Taylor Misiak, and I'm just hoping that some of the projects that have been coming my way end up landing. But to be honest, from a performance perspective, I'm just happy to be seen in the room, and I've noticed that a lot of the casting directors that have been seeing me are like repeatedly seeing me for things. So yeah, that hopefully that will be my next step in the right direction.
Thank you.
Any other questions from the audience?
So for First, you mentioned that you shot in December. Was that quite like an easy, smooth shoot, or was that quite hard?
I'll take the first part of that question. That was cold. There's well, I was going to say the episode, but the initial episode that we shot where we were running around the park, that was probably, I think that was the coldest day in the year, and initially we had to make some changes on the fly as well, because initially I was meant to be in shorts and topless, and we ended up filming. How long did we film for on that day?
It was a whole day.
It was a whole day filming.
Yeah.
And it was cold, and that sweat was fake. So yeah, December shoots are very, very cold in the UK, to be fair.
Challenge around there was just keeping an eye on the equipment, to be honest. Just trying to take turns and making sure that we're not leaving any expensive gear around the corner, because obviously it's a public place and there's only a few of us doing it. And then I suppose, I really like that area because I feel like the architecture is incredible. Like, it's just so interesting. So it was kind of like really hard to choose where our main scenes were going to be. And then actually the scene in the bench, which is one of my favourites, was that was supposed to be somewhere else, and we got kicked out. So we went there instead, and actually I quite like it. So sometimes the challenges actually work out better in the end.
Well, one more up here.
Hi, I wanted to know in regards to the First Kiss film, obviously the colour choices, if there was like a specific reason for those colour choices.
I should ask George, really, sitting over there. And we wanted the theme to be that each moment you couldn't get to the kiss without all of those prior moments. So you can't, from the look to the words and everything, that eventually you would see all of those kind of colours coming together in a way that you can't get to that point without those other points. And we wanted to do something that was quite bold, that would really contrast well against the black and white. We filmed in black and white because of the we didn't have any budget for lighting, so I think there's 2 lights at the end. So we thought we'll do black and white, and those colours really work well because they're quite distinctive in terms of the kind of neon-esque look. And we wanted to go for something that was quite bold, which would juxtapose nicely against the kind of traditional romantic music that we wanted to lean into, that was inspired by films like Singing in the Rain. So we wanted to go for something that was very, very bold, the kind of bringing in that modernity feel, but also something that was also a bit of a nod to the graffiti that we were seeing throughout the location that we absolutely loved. So that was kind of, why the palette was what it was.
Thank you.
So we're going to go back to Liam to wrap up, but first of all, can we all give George a round of applause?
Right, thank you. That was this panel. Can we get a round of applause for all of our actor and amazing directors?